lights are out, you stumble in the dark. You kept pushing on, but then you went too far. When your ship has sailed and all your dreams are lost, everything is wrong, you feel like it's your fault. Just remember, I will be there for you, baby. Remember, there's nothing out there to get you, don't forget it. When life feels lemons, just hold on. Just hold on. Just hold on. You're stronger now than you ever been. You gotta leave now, it's time to catch the wind.
After an incredible round last week at South Boston, we come now to Hampton, Virginia for the home of round number 7 of the Super Late Model AI Series from Langley Speedway. Good evening, everybody. My name is Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening. Alongside me, as always, my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso. Tony, a great race at a great racetrack at South Boston last week. We come now to Langley Speedway. It is a small, flat, wide racetrack that's going to produce a lot of exciting racing.
Well, Frank, they say that Virginia is for lovers, but I say they're missing a word in there. Virginia is for racing lovers, because there are some tracks here that have so much history to them, and they're just so much fun to drive that, Virginia is a racing state in its heart. I guarantee you this. As we come to Langley, this track is so much fun. It races so much bigger than it is, too, because you have the very short straightaways and the long sweeping turns. This track, it races a lot differently than a normal half mile would, and this is only 4/10.
Yep, absolutely. 4/10 of a mile, long sweeping corners, as you just said. We'll take a look at the point standings now coming into this event. And as we had mentioned over the last couple weeks, it's the biggest points margin. It's the biggest points margin. It's the biggest points margin between first and second. Well, we have to say it again this week, because the biggest points margin now is held by Sean Woodside with a 16-point advantage over Tanner Reif. Jake Drew right there in third as well, not that far away from his teammate Tanner Reif. And Tony, we had talked about it off air, that whenever we come to a flat racetrack, those two Sunrise Ford cars really come alive. Sitting second and third in points, it's a great chance for them to now be first and second.
Very much so. That Sunrise team, whenever the tracks lose their banking, the Sunrise team rises to the top. The only slight anomaly to that was last week at the high banks at South Boston. We saw them have really good runs, both of them. But what really has me jacked up is the two McAnally cars, both of them moving towards the top 10, up 6 spots in the point standings from where they were before last week.
All the McAnally cars moving forward. We saw with Derek Kraus and Cole Moore +6. Gio Scelzi currently 17th in points right now. He's the lowest of the three, but also made his way up forward as well. Dominic Lopez also making his way forward. He came into last week's race stone dead last in the point standings, but with a third place finish, comes out of it +4 from where he was. And speaking of that McAnally team, Derek Kraus right now number 1 on the timing and scoring pylon. There he is, trying to work his way under the 12A of Derek Griffith. And another McAnally car, Cole Moore, trying to get out of pit road. As we continue on through this practice session, just 15 seconds left here in this practice session. As we had noted, the two Sunrise cars, Jake Drew, Tanner Reif, currently sitting second and fourth in the timing and scoring pylon. Dominic Lopez, who we had just mentioned finishing third last week at South Boston, currently occupying the third position on the board. As the practice session comes to a close, Derek Kraus, your fastest in practice. As Tony, it's time for one of our more fun events, which would be this quick dash qualifying that we have here.
Yeah, absolutely. This is going to be one of the quicker sessions as qualifying starts to ramp up now, as we're waiting to see who's going to be the first one to roll it. But
everyone.
Yeah, well, everyone, but there we go.
It's Dominic Lopez on track right now.
Yeah, the one thing we haven't talked about yet is this pit road is real tricky to get off of. On is a little bit easier because there's not really a sharp curve like we saw at Wilkesboro, but you've got to stay below that mustard line going through 1 and 2, or else you're going to get the dreaded black flag.
Cole Moore looking incredibly quick. Cole Moore, the only driver with 2 pole positions on the season, but it will be Jeremy Doss who sets the fastest lap, at least for the moment, in the 75. He's another guy that we've seen really only in the mid-pack here this season thus far. Doss will hold second, but it'll be Corey Heim up at the top. Well, just for the moment is Sean Woodside, the current points leader, goes fastest of all. Dominic Lopez right there as well, just 1/100th of a second off, as still waiting for guys to qualify here. We've got 2 different groups of qualifying here. Derek Kraus to the top.
Good run out of the Napa Auto Parts number 19, as I believe this could be possibly his first pole of the season.
I believe so. Let me go and just take a look really quick here. It will be Derek Kraus's first pole award of the season, and with that, we will now head over to the race here in just a moment, as there we go. Flag flies on the session, and we are getting set to go. We'll take a look at the grid here in just a moment. Here it comes. Our grid for round number 7 of this season. Derek Kraus and Sean Woodside will make up row number 1. Dominic Lopez continuing his good run from last week. We'll start in the second row. Corey Heim just to his outside. Jeremy Dawson, Derek Griffith in row 3. Austin Herzog and Tanner Reif will make up row 4. Andy Allen and Cole Moore find themselves in row number 5. Austin Maynard and Blaine Roca will make row 6. Wayne Stokes and John Moore will sit in row 7.
Row number 8 is going to go to Mark Wirtz and Carson Quapple. Parker Traves and Gio Selzy rolling off in row. Missed that up. Row 8,
row 8
is going to go to Walt Clow and Trevor Huddleston. Row 9 is going to go to Mark Wirtz and Carson Quapple. Row 10 is going to see Parker Traves and Gio Selzy. Josh Berry and Ty Majeski rolling off in row 11. Row 12 going to Colby Howard and Jake Drew. Row number 13 is going to see Eddie McDonald and Sammy Smith. Starting shotgun on the field in the 25 is going to be Tony Breedinger.
And just a tenth and a half separating pole from second here today, as we now will await the beginning of this race, about 3.5 minutes away. Weather conditions, we are just past 8 p.m. in sim time. 83 degree ambient temperature, 86 degree ambient on track temperature is 86, ambient is 83. Starting to see the higher air temps here as we hit the summer months, but the track temp staying down because we're about to go under nightfall here.
Yeah, we are, and this track becomes so racy once the sun goes down. Being the fact that we are partly cloudy skies, there's not a lot of sun out right now. There is a good amount of wind. We've seen gusts up to 13 so far. That's not going to affect the cars too much, as it's going to be pointing straight down both straightaways. So it shouldn't be too bad, except maybe middle of the corner, they're catching a cross breeze.
Yep, and then just that transition away as it'll start to catch the corners of these cars will also not be ideal for these guys, but still a great race anticipated nonetheless. Sean Woodside, the points leader, will start from that outside first row position. The outside line could be very, very interesting here today. We will see guys running double file. We will see guys possibly making it 3 wide at some point during the race. But still, you want to be on that inside here, especially at a track where you're just constantly turning left.
Very much so. You're not going to be able to get on the trigger full tilt for very long. And especially on a long green flag run, you're going to have to wait on the car so long once the tires start to go south. This is really going to be where you're going to have to be up on the steering wheel from the time the green flag drops till the time the checkers come out.
And this is a very, very good view to see. There really is no straight line on this racetrack. You come out of turns 4 and turns 2 very shallow, and then take a deep dive going down into turn number 1. Quite a nice little arc you built there. It's a lot more of an arc going in, a lot shallower coming off. There really is no time where your wheel is straight unless you're on pit road.
Yeah, absolutely. And even on pit road, there's some trials and tribulations are going to have to get around, being as part of it's concrete, part of it's asphalt. And it's very easy to get too aggressive coming out of your box and shear an axle off here.
And another thing I'm also noticing, we have 27 cars on track here today. Only 19 pit boxes I'm noticing, so a couple of guys will be sharing pit boxes as this race goes on. It'll be very interesting, especially if they're both pitting at the same time.
Yeah, that's one of the things, unfortunately, about this place is normally they only start 19 in a feature because there's not room to really get more than that pitted safely. So it kind of is what it is. As the pace car finally starts to roll it, this is going to be a fun one, though, Frank.
Yep, it absolutely is. As Kraus starts to roll his way through turns 1 and 2, Tony, flat racetrack, nice and wide, should produce a lot of great racing. And hey, we may even see some bumping and banging here today.
I would expect as much. This track, you want to be on the low side, and it's a hindrance if you're not on the low side. So anybody that gets caught on the top side, first of all, they're going to be flirting with the wall, trying to stay off the car, inside of them, and the wall. It's going to be very easy to get that wrong. It's going to be even more easy to get it wrong trying to get down.
Yeah, it could also be quite interesting as you start flushing up and out of these corners. But Tony, great race set to go. After the great show last week, it's time to get rocking and rolling here at Langley.
Yeah, absolutely. As the pace car gets ready to haul it on off, the only thing that's left to do is wipe the visor and adjust the 5-point harness. Grandma, grab some popcorn, because it's time to get it on in Virginia. Race fans, it's showtime!
175 laps here as, boy, the cone's going everywhere here at the start of this race at the back of the field as we see Corey Himes starting to work his way. He's up on that outside line. Oh, contact in the back there. That's Blaine Roca in the 98. Hard into the wall goes Cole Moore, and so does Blaine Roca. They keep it straight, though. Or at least for the moment. 99 of Cole Moore has stopped. Yep, on the racing surface, and that will be a caution. Our first one of the season is now the AI. Oh, contact between the 11, the 22, and the 29 as they all stopped right on the racing line. And it took just a couple of laps before we see something we have not seen in this race. That is a caution. Or in this season, I should say, not this race.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm surprised it took us this long. Being as this isn't the smallest track we've been on, it's not the tightest track we've been on. It just... I'm surprised it took us till race 7.
It's quite interesting how this has happened as we'll ride on board here with Cole Moore. You can see that's the 95. The main incident has already happened here between these two. As there's Moore just flat out stopping right on the racing line. Not sure what made him think that that was proper racing protocol. But there we go, on board with him, and just nothing to see. Just Roca right into the side of him.
Hey. Then he hits Roca hits the wall again, going into 3.
Just nothing that he could have done. As here's on board of Roca, contact there. Boy, it looked like he got into the side of the 55 of Mark Wirtz.
Yeah.
And that shot him up, but you can see all the damage on the 99, and Roca certainly has damage as well. John Moore is on pit road right now. Not quite sure why he is down pit road. He looked pretty clean from where the incident had happened, but again, just takes one lap before we've seen something we have not seen yet this season, as we are under caution for the first time, not just in this race, but on the year. So now, Tony, we'll get to see how these guys restart.
First time this season, we're going to see a restart under competition.
A mid-race restart set to go here from Langley. As Derek Kraus will lead the line again. Dominic Lopez promoted from third to second for this restart. Jeremy Doss in third. Pace car is off. Leader is off and away. We are running back here again at Langley. Looking all good right now for the moment. Still battling side by side. Tanner Reif way out wide. Ooh, contact there, I think in the back. Tony Breedinger had a little bit of side-by-side contact with somebody. It might have been Austin Maynard. There he is. Slow. Please don't stop in the middle of the track again. Maynard will be slow, but he is off the racing line. Gio Selzy comes down pit road. He's had some contact with somebody as well in the 16.
This is surprising. But Breedinger has definitely made some headway, starting shotgun on the field, and she's currently into the top 10 already.
Oh, Maynard.
Yikes.
Yeah, he had a big clip on that grass. And oh, right in front of us, that was the 45 of Woodside catching the wall.
Well, he was 3 wide coming off of 4 with
right
one of
into
those Sunrise Ford cars, and it just bang goes the dynamite.
Right into your living room. He stopped short of turn 3. Field is working his way around. Field is working their way around. Very generous with the caution flag there. As we stay green, everyone's starting to get single filed out here, as it's Colby Howard finding himself way wide in turn 2.
Absolutely is. You know, people are making moves here tonight, but people are also getting in a lot of trouble for trying to do so.
Big stop there for Colby Howard, as he is stuck on that outside line and cannot get going. And remember, just a couple of laps ago, we were talking about Dominic Lopez starting up at the front. He is down to 16th position just in the time we've gone green to now. This is a race where it is definitely proving you need to be on the inside here if you want to be quick. As Derek Kraus running away with this, uncontested so far. Jeremy Doss running in second, the highest he's been all season. Walt Clow battling up here as well. Now Clow has had a share of the points lead at one time here, and I would think it's safe to say, Tony, with Woodside in pit road and heavily damaged, we're not going to see Woodside leading the points after this race is all said and done.
Probably a safe bet. especially with all the right side damage on that car. I mean, that he's in trouble. He's in deep trouble tonight.
Absolutely, and he's just gone back down pit road. Ty Majeski having a solid run, not as good as Tony Breedinger, though, who sits right in front of Majeski. Breedinger currently up 17 spots from where she started this race. And even after that contact at the beginning of this run, has found herself battling just inside the top 10. She's running 10th right now.
And she's got Ty Majeski all over her back bumper right now. This is one of the stronger runs we've seen out of the 91 this season as well.
Yep, absolutely. Sammy Smith.
And the 51 of Sammy Smith.
Yep, Sammy Smith doing fine up here. Carson Quapple right behind these three. As we see the battle just inside, or just on the outside of the top 10 looking in. Breedinger in. The other two wanting to get in. As, boy, things have really settled down from that hectic start. And as we had mentioned right at the top of the program, Jake Drew and Tanner Reif, the two guys for Sunrise Ford Racing, we talk about how when the tracks get flatter, these guys start going forward. That has not been the case. Jake Drew is +9 from where he started, but he's currently running in 15th. Tanner Reif down 12, running in 20th right now from where he started this race.
Yeah, it's still early. Basically what they're trying to do is they're trying to just survive the melees right now, as it has been very hectic.
It certainly has, as Dominic Lopez still continues his backslide. Remember, about 20 laps ago, he was sitting in second on the restart, now down in 18th position. So he continues to fall. Sammy Smith now getting around Tony Breedinger as Ty Majeski works his way up into the top 10. Sammy Smith following through. He's in 11th. The car in front of them, Gio Scelzi, however, not for position with this group.
Yeah, absolutely. This is an impressive run out of Smith. Just the fact that team went through what it went through the last couple of weeks. They fired the car chief, they fired the crew chief, and they fired the rear tire changer after last week's race, brought in a whole new crew, and it's paying dividends already.
Absolutely is. You just see he's always got an arch to that wheel. It is never straight around this racetrack, and it just goes to show these tiny little bull rings like this, you need to really have good quality car control.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, you could just see how long he's got to be out of the throttle to keep that car on the low side. And then flirting with the curbing there in 1 and 2, that could get a little sketchy, especially later in a run. You really don't want to get on those rumble strips.
It is nice to see, though, even though we have seen as we look up to a battle for third position as Corey Heim starting to put pressure on Walt Clow, it is very nice to see. We have gone to a couple of racetracks that are very similar in shape to Langley. We've gone to Lanier, say already. We've gone to the Bull Ring, and even Sobo last week, a familiar configuration to this track. But this is going to show there is a difference in how these tracks run, and these tracks do have a personality, because in all of those tracks I previously mentioned, you can go side by side and you can get away with side-by-side racing at those racetracks. Here, bottom line is king.
Very much so, and this is, it's indicative to the flat tracks. You're going to see it become single groove racing, but you've got to pick when you're going to make your moves.
So we see Walt Clow off the back of him running in third. Now Derek Kraus has opened up a 3.2 second lead on Jeremy Doss. So that number 19 has gotten away quite a bit. That is Blaine Roca currently running right in front of him. Roca naturally not on his lap. We saw him down pit road earlier. Cole Moore, Austin Maynard, and Sean Woodside still on pit road, and would have to assume they're either out of this race or they are well, I would say effectively out of this race with no real chance at winning or gaining positions at this stage, as we see Parker Traves trying to hold on to his top 5 position against Trevor Huddleston. Not a lot of moves being made here, and again, this looks like it's just a track personality trait, which is very nice to see.
It is, and like we talked during the pre-race, this is one of those tracks that once you figure out how to run this track, it is so much fun to wheel a car around here at pace. But it's so easy to get it wrong here too. Being as it is a more or less a one-groove racetrack under green flag conditions, you really have to time your runs. You've got to time just perfect to make the moves happen.
And just to show what type of an outlier this race has been thus far, we're working lap 45 right now. We have not had a pass for position for the last 14 laps thus far. Now, we would have had about 20 passes for position in just one lap on a couple of these racetracks, but here it's showing you really need to be in that right lane, and you really have to set up a good run. As Parker Traves gets a little bit close there to Corey Heim, has to wiggle and move up a lane. That opens the door for Trevor Huddleston, who can't quite get through. Andy Allen now on the outside as Josh Berry looks to attack. And Berry gets the position.
And that's what we were talking about. He set that pass up about 5 laps early. And scouted it, and finally saw his opening and went for it. And that's what you guys are going to have to do tonight to make something happen.
Saw this at the end of last week, like just before the real life cup race at Nashville. They are starting to run these super late models at North Wilkesboro. And Dale Jr. posted video, and so did Josh Berry, of them turning this HarrisonUSA.com number 8 around North Wilkesboro. Dale Jr. actually announcing that he will be racing at North Wilkesboro when they start opening the track up for action again this August. So it's nice to see this car starting to perform well, knowing that the real-life driver is going to be driving this car here fairly soon, as we see Parker Traves trying to make a move on Corey Heim.
Yeah, he was thinking about it, but Heim's got the position, and he's going to have to try something different if he's going to make that pass stick at all. You can see that the gap is now opened back up with Heim.
Gap opening up quite a bit, and this is one of the closer races we have on track right now, as we see Derek Griffith looking to the inside of Mark Wirtz in the 55. Mark Wirtz, the winner, back at North Wilkesboro, the aforementioned North Wilkesboro. Now falling back multiple positions here, as he's going to get freight trained by the likes of Tanner Reif, Colby Howard, the 27 of John Moore. However, that's not for position. The 17 of Eddie McDonald is going to get the pass done. And Jake Drew is the one that he'll be the last one to pass him. It looked like he was going to be the one to let him in. But we were speaking about Tanner Reif not that long ago being down in the 22nd position. He's all the way up to 17th. He has flipped past his teammate Jake Drew, as both of those guys continue to work their way up from the back.
Yeah, that's something you expect to see out of the Sunrise Fords, is the fact that they're going to sit back a little bit in the early going of the race if they're deep in the field. They're going to make sure that the melees are out of the way, and then they're going to start their steady climb. So I would expect we're at the point now where those two cars are going to just be on a steady march to the front.
They're going to have to expedite that climb a little bit, because the keen-eyed of you will notice those two cars that just passed. That's Blaine Rocca, who currently runs in 23rd. He's multiple laps off, about 10 laps off of where Eddie McDonald and Jake Drew and Mark Wirtz are. However, the guy currently running behind him is the race leader, Derek Kraus. Now, Kraus had opened up a 4-second gap. That has come down to 3 3/4 seconds as he's now stuck behind this group. So we will start to see Jeremy Doss starting to close in on that number 19.
Yeah, very much so. I mean, we see this week in and week out that, a race leader will stretch out a 6-7 second lead and then have it all go for naught once they get to the tail end of the lap traffic, and then the games start.
See again, this is this conga line from 3rd all the way down to 8th. Walt Clow leading it, Corey Heim, Parker Traves, Trevor Huddleston, Josh Berry, and Andy Allen. Just beyond these guys, Wayne Stokes currently running in the 9th position. He is closing in on these guys, not by much, but he is slowly making progress towards that group of 6. Ty Majeski there as well. Now, good news for Majeski is that car behind him is not for position. Sammy Smith currently running in the 11th position. He is the one that is fighting the 91 for position, about a second behind.
Regardless, this is still one of the best runs we've seen out of that 51 team all season so far. And, if the race ended right now, that would be a positive note in the books for them. It boggles my mind to see that team struggling as much as they were early on in the season, trying to get up to speed with the rest of these people. That it's good to see them finally having the results starting to show.
We're seeing that as well out of not just the 51, but Ty Majeski as well, who we see on screen there starting to put pressure on the 92 of Wayne Stokes. Also see Josh Berry up here for the first time this season as Trevor Huddleston looking to the inside of Parker Traves. That move didn't work, and unfortunately it looks like that's going to force Josh Berry out to the outside line. That will send Andy Allen up into the 7th position. So Allen doing effectively what Josh Berry done unto him about 30 laps ago.
Well, what's good for the goose is good for the gander, but Berry getting a little bit better run going into 3. Going to try to reel that pavement back, and they're going to have to make it happen quick because Stokes is closing in on both of them at a rapid pace.
Yep. Stokes starting to close in. He's starting to feel the heat from Ty Majeski, forcing him to start moving up through the field. Derek Kraus has gotten around the 6 of Jake Drew. That is the only car he's actually put down a lap on track, at least for the moment. Mark Wirtz is up there as well. Surprised he still hasn't gotten around Blaine Roca just yet. Jeremy Doss is closing up that gap to the race lead, but he's closed it from 3 3/4 seconds now to 3.5. So it is still slow movement up towards Kraus for the 51 of Doss. But as we've seen over these last couple of weeks, the pit stops here can really mess this order up.
Yeah, they absolutely can. It's so easy to, lose time in the pits. It's very difficult with the wheels that are on these cars. They're known as a wide 5, where if you'll notice, like in the NASCAR Cup Series that you normally see on your TV, right around the center of the axle is where the lug nuts normally sit. With these tires, they're almost like an old VW setup, where the lug nuts are actually just inside the lip that the tire sits on. So you can't hit those lugs as quickly with the gun as you can with a normal 4.5 on 5 setup like you would see in the Truck Series and the Xfinity Series and what used to be in the Cup Series. That is a beautiful shot of those brake rotors glowing.
So what you're saying, as far as the way the tire goes, just to just to kind of highlight a little bit more, you said the lug nut actually sits in the hub a little bit. So would that be more akin to what you would see on your road car?
No.
As compared, no. Road
If
car
you
sits
own
deeper, I guess.
if you own a 1960s VW, yes. The lug nuts are just under the lip where the tire sits.
Okay.
And they call it a wide 5 because it's a wide lug pattern. And they did that so that they went to that so that you can have a lighter weight spindle. You're still, most of your rotating mass is coming from your brake rotor anyway. But if you can take a lot of that center portion of the rim away, that lightens that rotating mass back up, and that's what they've done with these cars. But because of that, green flag pit stops are not easy to do.
We will be seeing those green flag pit stops in the not so distant future. There's the 29 of Austin Maynard, who has gotten back out on track, spent 9 minutes on pit road in that number 29, repairing damage from an earlier incident. Sean Woodside and Cole Moore still on pit road at the moment as Mark Wirtz getting shuffled out to the outside in that number 55. That will surely mean he will go a lap down at this point, as around goes Blaine Roca, and so does Derek Kraus getting around him in the number 19. So Derek Kraus now slowly starting to pick his way through this field. And this will be big for Kraus. He's got 2 second-place finishes on this season. The first one at Myrtle Beach and the second one last week at South Boston. And after a slow start to the season for the 19, certainly a win would be very nice. Would be a very nice compliment. And to finish off the last 4 rounds with 2 second-place finishes and a win, I'm sure would be exactly what the doctor ordered for that 19 season. We see John Moore in the 27 getting around Austin Maynard. John Moore not on the same lap as any of the drivers currently around him. Moore currently sitting 3 laps down at the moment in 22nd. He's quite a number of laps ahead of the 98 of Blaine Roca, as the 17 of Eddie McDonald getting stuck now on the high line. Kraus getting around him. Austin Herzog in a nice little battle here in the 11. Battle for 13th. Quapple has 13th. Herzog and Griffith both want it. However, those 3 are stuck behind the 25 of Tony Breedinger running in 12th. It wasn't that long ago that we were talking about Breedinger being in front of both Ty Majeski and Sammy Smith. Majeski now still trying to work on that 92 of Wayne Stokes. Majeski and Smith have gotten a full 3 seconds away from Tony Breedinger in that number 25, as Corey Heim now has fallen off the back end of Walt Cloud, now really trying to defend from Parker Traves, as here comes Sammy Smith down pit road.
Smith can be the first one of the leaders to bring it pit side to get for Mr. Feelgood's. Actually, it's Hoosiers, and you can see the wide 5 hub there. That's what makes the pit stops on these cars so difficult. It's the pattern on where the lug nuts are. You can't hit those. You can't hit a wide 5. You physically can't hit a wide 5 as quickly as you can a 4.5 on 5 like they have in the truck series.
And it also, it's worth noting there, fuel only stops for those guys as well, as Trevor Huddleston peels down pit road. He is in his box. That's the 55 of Mark Wirtz peeling away. Blaine Roca in. Jeremy Doss coming in from second. Derek Kraus still in the race lead. Looks like on the inside line, might be coming in this time. is the 19. No, he's not. Derek Griffith and Dominic Lopez, however, will. Is that 19 still trying to work his way around lap traffic, trying to put a lap on Colby Howard in the 81.
So he's going to stay out as we're past the halfway mark, so it looks like a one-stop race for all these guys.
Yeah, looking like it. We're darn near at the century mark. We'll see what Heim decides to do. No, Heim decides to stay out. Walt Klaus stuck on the outside line with Doss and the 98 of Roca running under him. This could play into the hands of Jeremy Doss in that 75, because Doss was a couple of seconds clear of Clow and Heim and Traves and Allen and Barry. He was a couple seconds clear of those guys, still about 3 seconds off of Kraus, but to be able to get out of pit road and have clear racetrack in front of him, that could mean a big issue for the 19 of Kraus. His lead could be either nullified or gone.
I think it's going to be gone, but the question is, how deep is he going to fall for staying out as long as he has?
Jeremy Doss is in this group right now as he's looking under the 24 of Dominic Lopez. Austin Maynard there as well.
There's no hole, though, as he's got the 29 right in front of him.
This is where we might hit a little bit of a danger zone as well. Ooh, contact between the 75 and the 29. Gio Selzy in the 16 comes down pit road. Look at how close those guys are as Blaine Roca really putting the pressure on the 75, and that moves Doss out, as this will really help Derek Kraus, who's running, as you can see, all alone right now as we work lap 106 of 175 here from Langley Speedway. It's finally happened. We've had a caution earlier on in this race. We'll take a quick break. We'll finish the pit cycle and come back for the conclusion of this race. You're watching the Super Late Model AI Series from Langley Speedway right here on ESPN. Drivers that took time, all of them within 3.5 tenths of each other tonight, is going to be a very closely competitive race.
As the field works its way out of the 3-4 complex, the only thing that's left to say is wipe the visor, adjust the 5-point safety harness, because race fans, it's showtime!
Amazing looking cars already. Green flag will fly.
Well, oh, the rocket! Well, one thing that you're going to see at this track that we haven't seen the last few weeks is a surface that's multi-group. I think this is the first multi-group surface we're going to have.
After an amazing race at Daytona, we now come to the left coast and Auto Club Speedway in Fontana, California for the second round of the Way She Goes Racing League Cup Series.
Back here, the Super Late Model AI Series from Langley Speedway, under caution for not just the second time this race, but the second time this season.
What?
as
Earth.
the field is starting to see AI issues under caution, but here is why we're under caution. We saw Colby Howard stopped, and it looks as though he may have gotten into the turn one wall, and as
He did.
as the 99 of Moore did earlier on in the race,
Jeepers.
he just pulled it off and stopped right in the racing line. So this is... Saw this is with Howard earlier on. I think we might have gone back a little bit too far here. We'll bring it back up forward here. As Howard...
May have caught the wall coming off of 4.
Might have done. So we're riding along with the 81 of Howard here. Into turn 1. Looking all good here. We might have to wait a lap or two to see what happened. Let's actually jump a little bit further forward in time here. There's the 81. There he is.
The Majeski that hit him?
Might have been. Let's see it one more time here. It's actually, now that we know we're going to catch it here. It's Sammy Smith in front of him. Oh,
Yeah,
no, that's
wides.
the 20. Oh, that was the 24 of Lopez in the middle.
Right. Yeah, 3 wide's never a good idea.
Especially not here with AI, apparently. Josh Bear. Oh, we're back. Boy, we missed that. Okay, we're back under green. Wasn't expecting that. As Corey Heim, now currently your race leader. Boy, Derek Kraus looking for that lead back
Not for
through
long.
the middle. Oh, a little bit of contact, nothing too damaging for at least the 20. Still 3 wide. Contact with the 22. Allen into the fence.
That was a hard shot into the flag stand.
It was, and there's Allen.
We're going to be back under caution.
I think
He's
we
gonna
might
stop.
be. Yep, there he goes. Again, right in the racing line.
Well,
As Andy Allen has put us under our 3rd caution of the day.
3rd caution of the season.
Yeah, and something tells me that this is going to continue to happen here. As it looks like a lot of these guys are going to get their laps back, at least for the moment. So the new order, while we were looking at the replay, we do apologize for missing that restart. That one genuinely caught us off guard. Derek Kraus, Carson Quapple, Corey Heim, Eddie MacDonald, Tony Breedinger, Parker Traves, Ty Majeski, Wayne Stokes, Austin Herzog, Walt Clow, the top 10. As Walt Clow will work his way back around.
While getting the free pass. Now the question is, Frank, do you have it set, or did they set the league up that lap cars go to the back?
I don't remember, if I'm honest.
Fair enough.
I think.
If that's the case, Theo Selzy's screwed.
Yeah. Gio Selzy, quite a number of laps down already, so it's not as though he would be running on the lead lap. He's 16 laps down at the moment. Is the 16 of Selzy, but we have had quite an interesting night, and look at that overhead shot. What a shot.
A beautiful facility here at Langley.
Between the mist, and you can see a little bit of fog coming out of the lights, and it's still got that orangey glow to it. What a shot.
Absolutely. You know, this is one of those bucket list tracks. You know, we talk about the history at different facilities. This is another one of those tracks that, you know, so many big names have come through here. to advance their real-world racing careers, as it looks like we are going to get a restart with 50 to go.
Yep, and as we're seeing, lead lap cars go up to the front, lap cars to the back of the line. Walt Clow will be at the back of the line, having received the free pass. Austin Herzog will be the last of the lead lap cars up towards the front. As we now double file up and get set to go racing here yet again. Tony Breedinger, Austin Herzog, and Carson Quapple all deciding to come down pit road here during what is our third caution of the night.
Did they put tires on?
Does not look like it. Looked like just a top off of fuel. As we get set to go, 50 laps to go here at Langley. We're back underway, and look already, Austin Herzog and Gio Scelzi got very close on that initial start.
Smith goes over the curbing going into one.
Yeah, we saw that a couple of times during the restarts earlier on. Trying to see as much of the field as we can, as I think somebody in the back there might have had an issue. 3 wide with the 11 of Herzog. 11
Stokes
Herzog.
into the wall.
Yep, Stokes looked like he caught it. Parker Traves now might suffer. Yep, he does. Gets hip checked into the fence.
2 minutes boarding.
Yeah, Traves looks to be okay. Side on side hit. As Derek Kraus somehow has found his way back up to the lead. Corey Hyman second. Eddie McDonald with a nice little run, sitting in third right now, plus 22 from where he started this race.
Looking to get a little bit of redemption after the dumpster fire that was Wilkesboro for that team. 6 right front spindles had to be replaced during that race. Just on this team.
Holding on to that third position right now. He's got Ty Majeski behind him, but his focus solely is on that Venturini Motorsports machine of Corey Heim. Currently sitting in front of him. Trevor Huddleston battling for position. Trying to get around Jake Drew in the 6.
That didn't work.
Oh, and this is where it gets interesting, because there are lead lap cars in the mix here and cars that are not on the lead lap.
Oh, Woodside's back out on track. Only 82 laps down.
Yeah, just around there. Wayne Stokes battling for position. He's battling with Parker Traves. Walt Clow has somehow gotten through the field and has gotten up past those guys. Clow up to 8th.
Yeah, he wasted absolutely no time when the green flag came out, just clawing his way through those lap cars. And they were very kind to him.
Absolutely, they were. Seeing Carson Quapple trying to stay inside of the top 5. Ty Majeski in front, Tony Breedinger behind.
The best run we've seen out of that young lady in a while, too.
Tony Breedinger, absolutely.
I
She's
think
had a couple of sneaky good runs she's had.
Yeah, I believe last time she was in the top 10 was USA, wasn't it?
No, just looking through now, she finished a quiet third at Wilkesboro.
That's what it was.
Finished second at USA. Beyond that, so 2 podiums for Breedinger. Not that bad thus far here on the season. She's held a share of the points lead at least once this season. She's been up in the top 3 or 4 a couple times. As far as point standings go, so it'll be another good points night for that Hair Club number 25 of Breedinger.
Yeah, absolutely. Starting to see some light at the end of the tunnel for that season. This could be the momentum maker that she needs to launch her into the final half of the season.
It could be, with guys like Sean Woodside and Cole Moore having some major issues. Andy Allen's still on pit road in the 22.
And I just looked at Reif and Drew as they're back flirting with the top 10.
If they are, Reif in 12th, Drew in 13th. Separated by John Moore in the 27 and the 55 of Mark Wirtz. Parker Traves side by side with the 92 of Wayne Stokes. He's gotten through. As Stokes falling down to 10th. Jeremy Doss, we were talking about him just before that caution that came out on lap 108. We were talking about him being possibly in the race lead at the end of the pit cycle. Now running in 11th, first car off of the lead lap.
Yeah, that caution came out at the worst possible time for him. Being as the cars that hadn't come down pit road yet, he wasn't able to get them cleared because it was so heavy traffic. It was thick as soup, in front of him just before that caution came out that trapped him a lap down.
Again, we're talking about him having a good run today. Eddie McDonald also having a very good run. Ty Majeski is high up the order as we've seen him all season in the 91. A lot of guys having a good run here at Langley despite the carnage that we've seen here today. Derek Kraus being one of them. He led every single lap up to the point of that caution on lap 108. When he came down pit road, Corey Heim led a couple of laps under caution, but since then it has been the Derek Kraus show here at Langley. He's finished second twice this season, bound to not have it happen again.
Well, we are fast approaching 25 to go. As a matter of fact, it'll be 26 to go this time by. Working lap 150 of 175 here tonight from Langley. Want to thank everybody for making us a part of your evening, as we are fast approaching a milestone here on the eSports Broadcasting Network, being as we are less than 50 subscribers away from hitting 2,500. And it's all because of you folks watching these videos. Thank you so much for tuning in nightly to watch the iRacing madness that we bring to you. And Frank, if you had told me a year ago at this time that we'd be flirting with 2,500 already, I would have said you were nuts.
Yeah, we had just hit 2,000 this time last year, and to see we're almost at 26 is incredible to see. I remember we were doing the Major Series. I think it was the Musket 250 we were doing in New Hampshire.
Yes, it
for
was.
the Major Series.
Yes, it was.
When we hit the 2,000 milestone.
Pavement modifieds at New Hampshire.
Yep, it was. As Derek Kraus not getting away the way he had done earlier on, and with how many laps there are to go, it's not looking likely that he's going to catch the field. So Corey Heim is putting a nice amount of pressure on here, keeping Derek Kraus honest. And we've had a couple of great finishes over these last couple of weeks where guys have been battling right up to the bitter end.
Absolutely, but that battle behind them for third is really starting to heat up, as Ty Majeski is giving Eddie McDonald everything he can handle right now.
Haven't really had much of a reason to jump on board with Ty Majeski thus far this season, and running in fourth place now we certainly do, as McDonald not quite catching up to Corey Heim, but still having a nice and solid run up there in third. Majeski as well. Carson Quapple, on the other hand, has his hands full with Tony Breedinger. The 81 of Colby Howard, we saw him bringing out the caution on lap 108, is back out there giving both of those two fits.
Absolutely is. Thing is, Howard, though, is 33 laps down. So that is not for position, but the lap car can apply the pressure to the lead lap cars of saying, yeah, you know what, you stay back there.
Certainly can. The young 19-year-old out of Mooresville, North Carolina, trying to keep Tony Breedinger behind him. He's fallen about a second and a half off of Ty Majeski. So for Carson Kvapil, it's looking like less of trying to go for a win and more just trying to preserve his first top 5 of the season.
I dare say you're right on that one. I mean, he's running a defensive line. He's not bombing it into the corners as we are 13 to go right now. He's not bombing it into the corners, but he is taking the line away from Breedinger, not letting her try to throw it to his inside to push him up the track to get position on him.
Just looking a little bit further ahead, that's Eddie McDonald in the 17. He's starting to lose a little bit of ground on Corey Heim in the 20. There is Heim.
Heim's lost a little bit of ground to the 19.
It was about 0.7 of a second. It's now grown to over a second as the 19 of Kraus is starting to find his groove again here at Langley, and he's led all but about 5 or 6 laps of this race. We were just talking before we went live how close the battle has been, or how close the battle was at South Boston with 3 guys leading almost an equal amount of laps. This is looking more back to the bull ring to open up this season. Kraus has dominated this race.
Seems like the shorter the track we go to, the better Kraus is. Throttle management is something that young man is one of the best in the business at doing. And, you get him the 12-inch tires that are on these cars, 12-inch wide by 15s. He really knows how to manage the power and keep the car underneath him for the entirety of the race, as we are 7 to go already, Frank. It'll be 6 at the line.
We absolutely are. Eddie McDonald now starting to pull away from Ty Majeski just a little bit, pulling back on Corey Heim. Nothing too crazy, though, as the 17 again just maintains station. And you had mentioned for Kraus, the shorter the track, the better he is. He's not going to like what's coming up next. Lucas Oil Raceway Park, formerly known as the O'Reilly Raceway Park, formerly known as Indianapolis Raceway Park, coming up next week. So IRP next. That will also be another race that will take place under the lights. And then we go to Thompson, Connecticut, and Thompson Speedway Motorsports Park. That will be quite an interesting race. Very short, high banks at Thompson, and that's as far north as we're going to go this season. There's 3 laps to go at the line.
3 to go as Kraus in command of this one. Heim doing everything he can to try to reel him in. Kraus starting to reel in those lap cars in front of him. There's not enough time for him to catch him, as we are now popsicle sticks in the air, 2 to go.
It's not looking close, and even if Kraus does catch up to the back of the field, it's not going to be enough time for Corey Heim to catch back up. But what a dominating performance from Derek Kraus. Took the pole at the very final moments of the qualifying session. Corey Heim tried to give him a battle. So did Jeremy Doss. But for the first time this season, Derek Kraus crosses the start-finish line. He will win here at Langley.
Heim hangs on for second. Eddie McDonald, first podium of the season. I dare say that the curse of Wilkesboro has been vindicated here at Langley, as McDonald, that car is still as clean and pristine as it was when they rolled it off the hauler. And Ty Majeski right there as well.
And for the 17 of McDonald, a great run, not just his best finish of the season, not just avenging what happened at Wilkesboro, but also the biggest mover of the race, plus 22 here today. A very, very good run for Eddie McDonald, but it is Derek Kraus who wins the day, takes his first win of the season in a race, Tony, where we saw a lot of firsts.
Our first handful of cautions on the season here in race number 6. uh, this is the first time we've ever actually seen beating and banging to this extent. Was it exciting? Absolutely. Was it terrifying? Absolutely, considering that, the skill level of these AI drivers is second to none. The fact that they were having a problem getting around this place tells you exactly how much of pride a real-world driver can take when they get it right here, being as even the computer had trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. And quite a night here at Langley Speedway. It was an incredible race. Got to see some action, got to see some cautions. A lot of fun here at this short little racetrack. And as we mentioned, we head to Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week in Brownsburg, Indiana. A classic racetrack. The inside line, however, is not going to be the place you're going to want to be there. Middle lane, high lane, progressive banking. Going to be a nice little race. Plenty of racing history there, not just in these, but also in the Xfinity and the trucks. So we know that that's going to be a great place for racing come next week.
And it goes back even further. If you go to the USAC days, USAC, that was one of their home tracks. I remember back in the late 80s, early 90s, they used to run what they called Thursday Night Thunder, where it was a weekly midget and sprint car show from IRP every week. And some of the biggest names in the business came through there. That's the first time I ever knew who Tony Stewart was, first time I ever knew who Jeff Gordon was, and just some of the all-time greats in open wheel racing here in North America came through IRP. So I'm very excited for that one next week.
Yep, it is going to be, without a doubt, an incredible race as we look forward to what is going to be coming up over the course of the weekend. Congratulations last night to the new champion of the Circle B Diecast Super Speedway Series. That season 1 for 2022 has come to a close as of last night. The season 1 for the ISNF Cup Series in 2022 is going to come to a close tomorrow afternoon, a 5:30 p.m. Eastern Time start at Homestead Miami Speedway. ISNF will be crowning a 2022 Season 1 champion tomorrow night. Sunday night NASCAR will run the Quick Trip 125 from Road America. That will be an 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start. Coming up on Monday, another 8:20 p.m. Eastern Time start. The season opener for the CleanRacing.net Truck Series. They will be at Chicagoland Speedway, opening up their 3rd season with us on the network and their 12th season as a league. We will also have the penultimate round of the Night Shift Racing League from Watkins Glen International on Tuesday at 11:55 a.m. And then Tuesday night will be the season opener. Season 47 begins for the Western States Racing League. They will be at Kansas Speedway. So for my broadcast partner, Tony Trapasso, I am Frank Marchese. Thank you very much for making us a part of your evening, and we will see you all from Lucas Oil Raceway Park next week for the Super Late Model AI Series. Good night, everybody.